It started with a sound so small, the clink of a fork in the dark. When he followed it, the billionaire didn't find a thief. He found a tiny black girl, barely 8, hiding behind the counter, eating scraps of cold food like she hadn't eaten in days. For a second, he couldn't breathe. Then, what he did next changed both their lives forever. Stay right here. This story's about to hit you straight in the heart. The fork clinked once, barely a tap, like a raindrop in a cathedral. He heard it because the house was asleep and he'd learned, long before he was a billionaire, to listen for small sounds. He pushed the pantry door with his knuckles so it wouldn't creak. The fridge light spilled across the tile like a stage cue, and there she was. A little black girl, 7, maybe 8. Knees tucked to her chest behind the island. Hoodie sleeves pulled past her fingers, chewing fast like every bite had to beat the clock. Her eyes were wide, ready to run, but her legs looked too tired to try. He didn't bark, didn't clear his throat. He crouched so the marble didn't tower over her and said, "Quiet." "Hey, kiddo." She froze, the fork hovering. Cold roasted chicken. A pile of green beans. Half a roll. Not a feast, not a crime. Just leftovers in a plastic container. The sort any mansion tosses out before morning. I wasn't stealing," she whispered. The food looked lonely." He almost smiled at that. "Yeah? Lonely food is the saddest kind." Her eyes flicked to the circular camera in the corner, a dummy for show, and then to the clock over the stove. 12:03 a.m. somewhere upstairs, the house exhaled. Down the hall, the old grandfather clock ticked like a metronome for the whole building. "What's your name?" he asked. "Nova." She swallowed hard, cheeks hollow, breath quick. "I can put it back." "Nova, you hungry?" She nodded once, the way you nod when admitting something feels like stepping off a ledge. He reached for the drawer and pulled out a fork, set it 2 tiles away. "I'm going to sit on the floor and have a bite too, if that's okay." She watched him slide down the cabinet and cross his legs in his own kitchen like a kid at a picnic. He kept his hands where she could see them, the way you do with a skittish animal. Except this was a child, and she wasn't skittish, just careful. "You're the owner," she whispered. "The big boss." "Just a guy in socks at midnight," he said, wiggling his toes. That earned the tiniest smirk, quick as a comet. "How do you know the house?" "My mom cleans here," she said. "Ms. Lila." He knew Lila. Quiet, clockwork, always early. He knew she wore her hair in a scarf and folded the end like a ribbon. He knew she never ate while on shift. He didn't know she had a daughter old enough to hide behind an island at midnight. "Did you tell your mom you're here?" "She's working nights at the hotel," Nova said. "Double shift." "She said I could sleep at Ms. Teresa's, but Ms. Teresa's car broke. I didn't want to be a bother. I wanted to not be hungry when she got home, so she didn't worry." He pictured the staff fridge with the padlock he'd approved years ago after one too many missing dessert trays. He pictured the no staff meals sign the head housekeeper had posted after a cost audit. He pictured the weekly waste list, perfectly good food logged, tossed, and hauled out. "Who told you you'd get in trouble for eating?" he asked. She shrugged. "Everybody." He took the chicken, split off a small piece, and set it onto a saucer like it was protocol. "House rule. No one goes hungry under my roof," he said. "Starting tonight." Nova's eyes filled so fast it looked like a magic trick. She took a careful bite. A soft sound escaped her, half sigh, half apology. His throat tightened. He knew that sound. He'd made that sound once, years ago, at a shelter table with a bowl of chili so good he'd never forget the smell. Back then, he'd sworn if ever he had a roof of his own, there'd always be chili, and the door would never lock on an empty stomach. "Do you like hot chocolate?" he asked. "I love it," she said, like it was illegal to say out loud. He moved slow, pan on, milk in, cocoa whisking into a galaxy. He added a pinch of salt and a dot of vanilla like his grandmother used to. He set the mug on the floor between them as if it were a peace treaty. Nova's hands wrapped around it, small, steady now. "Why did you freeze when you saw me?" she asked suddenly. "Because the sound of that fork, it took me back," he said. "And because I realized I didn't know something I should have known. That's on me." They ate like conspirators. He asked about school. She liked science, hated dodgeball, could spell photosynthesis without blinking. She told him she wanted to be an engineer to fix things people throw away. He logged that in the part of his brain where he stored promises. A shadow moved in the doorway. The head housekeeper, Mara, sharp as a tack and twice as mean. Sir, she said, icy. We don't allow. He didn't raise his voice. Mara, go get Lila. She's off-site, Mara snapped. And this is highly inappropriate. Staff families are not permitted. Go. Get. Lila, he said, and the way he said it made the clock stop ticking for a beat. Mara left with her jaw clenched. Nova flinched. He put the cocoa back in her hands. You're not in trouble, he said. You're safe. 20 minutes later, the service entrance banged and Lila rushed in with a laundry bag still over her shoulder, breathless, eyes wide. She froze when she spotted her daughter on the floor with the boss, a stack of napkins between them like a picnic blanket. I'm so sorry, Lila blurted, hands up like she was surrendering. Sir, I would never. She was supposed to stay with a neighbor. I didn't know. He stood. Ms. Lila breathed. Nova was hungry. Lila looked at the leftovers, then at him, then back to Nova. Shame, worry, and Mother Bear fire chased across her face in a storm. Baby, you can't come here without me, she said gently, kneeling. You scared me half to death. Nova nodded, guilty and relieved all at once. Lila turned to the billionaire, bracing for a verdict she probably rehearsed in her head all the way over. He met her eyes. I'm changing the rules, he said. No more locked fridges. No more no staff meals signs. If there's food, it's food for people, not trash cans. Mara reappeared, lips thin. That's not in the budget, she said. Then the budget's wrong, he said. And while we're at it, why does the waste log show half the trays as discarded on nights you go home with multiple meal allowances reimbursed to your card? Mara blinked. He'd only seen the reports minutes ago. No, that wasn't true. He'd seen them every week and skimmed them like whether he couldn't change. Tonight, a fork had made him pay attention. Security, he said, calm. Pull the last 3 months of footage from the loading dock. Mara stammered. Lila looked at the floor like it might swallow her. Nova clutched the mug. I'm not looking to humiliate anyone, he added. But this house will not punish the hungry while it pays bonuses for throwing food away. It didn't turn into a scene. It turned into a meeting. At 1 a.m., in the big dining room nobody used, he sat with Lila, the night chef, the steward, and, by his request, Nova, who swung her feet and watched the grown-ups like a tiny astronaut on a new planet. They drew up a plan on butcher paper. Staff pantry open 24/7. Labeling system. Weekly family table nights where leftovers became actual meals for whoever wanted them. Discrete access cards for families in emergency situations. He signed it like legislation. The chef signed it too and promised chili on Wednesdays. And you, he said to Nova. Engineer in training. I've got a problem. My foundation has all this money for scholarships and not enough brilliant kids to take it. Think you could help me spend a little when you're older? Her eyes did that comet smile again. I could spend it on microscopes, she said seriously. And on bridges that don't fall. Perfect, he said. First step, breakfast. Second step, a tour of the big lab downtown this Saturday, if your mom says yes. Lila's mouth trembled. Sir, I don't want charity, she whispered. This isn't charity, he said. This is a house finally behaving like a home, and an employer fixing what it broke. He arranged a car to take them home. On the stoop, Nova turned and said, Thank you for listening to a small sound. He stood there after they left, alone with the quiet. He thought about how wealth was supposed to buy distance from need. Tonight, it had done the opposite. It had moved him closer, which felt right. By sunrise, the staff pantry was stocked. The lock came off the fridge. The no staff meals sign came down, and in its place the steward taped up a new one, printed in bold. Nobody goes hungry here. Mara resigned before lunch. He accepted it without gloating and sent her off with a reminder that budgets are written by people, not the other way around. That evening, when the crew gathered for the first family table, he didn't make a speech. He ladled chili. Lila sat beside her daughter, who carefully placed a napkin in her lap like she'd seen on TV. Nova took one bite, and that soft sound came back, the same one from midnight. But this time it wasn't apology. It was permission. It was relief. The billionaire looked around his own dining room and realized it had never felt this full. Not from chandeliers or auctions or tastings, but from something warmer, like a pilot light catching. He caught Nova's eye across the table. She raised her spoon like a salute. He raised his back. The world didn't know about the midnight fork, not at first. The cameras weren't rolling. There was no press release. But change has a way of echoing. Staff told cousins, cousins told friends, and soon other houses called, other hotels, other kitchens, all asking for the same plan. He sent it free, no signature required. Weeks later, he walked into his kitchen at noon and found a sticky note on the fridge in a kid's slanted handwriting. "Thank you for the bridges," it said. He left a note under it. "Keep building." And that's how a billionaire shocked everyone. Not with a headline, but with a rule simple enough to fit on a fridge. If we have enough, then we all have enough. It started with a sound so small, only a man who remembered hunger could hear it. It ended with a full table and a little girl planning bridges no one else had imagined yet.